んにちは皆さん。私はハテムです。Egypt人。I'm going to give my presentation in English and I'll try to make it simple. So here is the title, it's Collabora Online, Nextcloud, one step closer towards open source heaven. And you will know why I call it heaven in the slides. So quickly the agenda is about me in brief details, and then open source and cloud computing, then Collabora Online, Nextcloud, which are these, and then a demo and a message. So quickly, my name is Hatem Wasfy. I am Egyptian from Egypt. I'm certified Red Hat System Administrator. I work in open source community since like 10 years, and I made a cloud in my previous experience. So I am more into open source support, and I like everything related to open source. So that's why I gained passion to have internship in iCraft and to work relatively to Nextcloud and Collabora. So quickly, before going to our product, which is Collabora Nextcloud, we need to go back quickly, like in a time machine, to get to the story back. What happened? So it's open source. The first comes. Open source, of course, when you go to a cafeteria, shop, restaurants, and you are hungry and or you need to drink something and or you're not sure of time and you find this, oh welcome, we are open, so you feel easy. So this is concept of open source. You find the software available and available with every means. So it started back to the 1970s with RMS, as we call it, the printer issue with Richard Stallman. That genius guy was like the father of open source, and it was a problem that he faced. I'll go quickly about it, you'll find more information on the internet. He was in a lab, in AI lab, and he was responsible for programming and technical things, and they got some problem in the printers they have, so he had to hack himself to the printer firmware and made some changes. So the paper is not going to jam and so on. Afterwards, when he tried to do it again, they told him, oh, we are sorry, it's property, you can change again. So he felt frustrated and said, no, I need to make something open for the whole, and here it started. So in 1983, GNU and free software has been established as a concept, and he started it as a prophet, as you can see in this funny picture. We consider him like a prophet for open source and freedom. So next step, it was in 90, the GPL license is being written, which is governing our community now, the rules and so on. And then in 97, there was a paper researcher called Cassandra and Buzzer. It was an add-on for the open source community, and hence it encouraged people to continue. You can read about it. Then open source as a meaning started in 98, and the most important thing, 1999. Some companies, commercial companies like IBM and Red Hat, who are now emergent recently, started working with open source and giving contributions. This gave open source an impact. So, cloud computing. We talked about open source and then cloud computing to go to our next cloud Collabora. So now everything we are dealing with is cloud computing. You save your files on the internet like Google Drive or Dropbox or something. You use services through the internet, it's cloud. So everything literally can be as a service on the internet or on the cloud. So I believe personally that open source should make use of our era, the cloud era, and make a solution or even more solutions to be packed together in open source world. One of the most important solutions will be our guy today. This is Collabora Online Nextcloud. So this is actually something amazing. You can have your own Google Drive or plus Google Docs together on your own server or your own machine, and you control everything by your own. You don't have to pay money to get extra space. You can afford as you can. Using Zeus, Collabora, and Nextcloud integration together. So this is the goal. This is what happens when we install Collabora and Nextcloud as a solution together. You will go to your browser, open the address, you will find your document. This is one document. You'll find a document here, and you can edit, you can add a new one, and you can collaborate with friends, colleagues. So this is our goal. So how we can reach this? Through knowing Nextcloud and Collabora. Nextcloud is an open source, of course we're talking about open source, file sharing and communication and collaboration platform, which enables us to work together in same document. And we can arrange sharing like Google Docs and like Dropbox. I can give you the file by link. You can download from here, and it's free. You don't pay any money to get the space. And Collabora. Collabora is like open office online, but a team in Collabora company, which is an English French company, developed it more and make it more suitable for collaboration. So it is compatible to be added to something like Nextcloud. So it can be work only or better, of course, work together with Nextcloud. So that's what I was talking about. Integrating Collabora online. Its name is Collabora Online, and the Nextcloud both together creates some competitor, and it's a real competitor to Google Drive Docs or Dropbox or even Microsoft 360, and it is a free solution. But it is controlled by user. As I mentioned, you have all the control. You have your servers, you have your things, you can monitor the service, so everything is under your control. So how to install this solution? Two steps, mainly two steps. Install Collabora, and then install Nextcloud, and then integrate it. Easy. So the first step to install Collabora, the guys made it easy. There are two ways to install. If you are experienced user, you can go to the next one, which is install from binaries. So installation using shell terminal and so on. Oh, I had the library missing, blah, blah, blah. Or if you are a normal user, like all of us, because we are not all experienced, you can use Docker image, which is pretty made to you. You can install the system up in a couple of minutes. So you have Collabora online without using anything, using Docker. And more information, of course, about these steps in those links, and it will be shared with you. Next thing, to have Nextcloud that will host Collabora. Nextcloud is simply a PHP website. So if anybody here is a web developer or experienced web development here, you will understand that you will get the folder and put it in your server under the HTTP www folder, and it will be up and running, of course, with database configuration and so on, which is easy. This is, and more information to configure is here. So now we have Collabora Online up and Nextcloud up. We will integrate them. Integrating comes from here. We open Nextcloud, then we add an plugin, that plugin for Collabora, then we configure that plugin to our Collabora Online server. We put it inside it, and then we press OK. Then it is configured, so we can open our documents assembly like this. And we have the solution. And we have varieties, many file types that we can open, like Excel sheet or Word or text file, binary file, any type of files you can share. It's like Google Docs, as we mentioned, but much better. So, iCraft, where we have the internship, is a company that supports open source culture and gives a great care to LibreOffice products to spread the word of freedom, the word of open source. In iCraft, and as a part of our internship program, we are implementing Collabora Online Nextcloud solution together. The goal is to test it and to enhance the performance and security. And this is the demo I'm gonna share. This is the URL as a demo. So this is the solution. What you get, you log into your solution, open source solution, which is Collabora Online to Nextcloud. So you have these things. Simply like any solution you find like Google Docs and so on. Here is your files. You can add one, you can edit, and so on. You'll find it on the pamphlet, the URL. So here is a message coming to the last part of my presentation. Our message is Collabora Online, the Nextcloud bring online office to everybody, literally everybody. Open source is freedom. Humans should live in freedom. That's what we all believe. Money is good actually, but if the cost should never be our freedom. If you believe in open source world, please support us by all means that you can. One of them is just spreading the word like what I'm doing now, my colleagues are doing, share the word, say that open source, this is better, this is better. This is a support. And I finish with two quotes. This is the guy, the father of everything about open source. He says that it will describe exactly what is open source. Free software is a matter of liberty, not price. To understand this, you should think of free as a word as a free speech, not as a free beer. So it's not something cheap. No, it's freedom. You do what you want. It's not something without price. It's not, no. Another important thing about Linus Torvalds, who is the father of Linux, he says that in real open source, you have the right to control your own destiny. That's why you can go to your own heaven afterwards using open source. So thank you all, and remember, may the source be with you. Thank you. Thank you.